Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Qhuratul Aini, and this is my last exam project in Semantic and Pragmatic class. My project is about application of pragmatics in spoken form, reference, and inference. Reference is the use of linguistic elements, example pronouns, definite articles, to point to entities or concepts within or outside the discourse. And inference is the process by which listeners deduce additional information and meaning from an utterance based on context, prior knowledge, and the specific linguistic element used. The application in spoken form. The first is resolving ambiguities in everyday conversation. The first is anaphoric reference, referring back to something already mentioned in the discuss. For example, John dropped his phone. It broke. Here, the word it refers to the phone. Next is cataphoric reference, referring forward to something that will be mentioned. For example, if you see her, tell Mary, I'm looking for her. Next is deictic expression, using words like this, that, here, and there, which depend on context for meaning. For example, can you pass me that? Relies relies on both speaker and listener knowing what that refers to. Number two of application in spoken form is improving communication efficiency. The first is assume shared knowledge, using references to rely on shared knowledge between speakers and listeners. For example, I talked to him yesterday. Assume the listener knows who him refers to. Next is contextual understanding, avoiding unnecessary detail but trusting the listener to infer the needed information. For example, the meeting was postponed implies the listener knows which meeting is being discussed. Number T of application in spoken form is enriching narrative flow and coherence. First one is storytelling, using references to maintain continuity in a narrative. For instance, once upon a time, there was a king. He was very wise. The pronoun he is connects to the word the king. Next is foreshadowing and suspense, utilizing references to hint at future event or build suspense. For example, you won't believe what happened next. Number four of application in spoken form is facilitating language learning, teaching contextual clues, educating learners to use context to infer meaning. For example, Anna took her dog for a walk. It started to rain. Help learners infer that it refers to the weather. Next is pragmatic competence, helping learners understand how to use references appropriately in different situations, enhancing their ability to communicate effectively. Number five of application in spoken form is enhancing human-computer interaction. The first one is voice assistant, designing systems like Siri or Alexa to understand and respond to references. For example, if a user says, remind me to call him, the system uses context to infer who him is. Next is chatbots, using inference to maintain coherent conversation. For example, if a user previously mentioned ordering pizza, a later reference to delivery can be correctly interpreted by the chatbot. Number Number six is supporting team and workplace communication. The first one is project discussion, using references to streamline communication in team setting. For example, let's finalize the draft by Friday. Assumes all team members know which draft is being discussed. The next is emails and meetings, avoiding repetition by using references that rely on shared context. For example, as discussed in the last meeting, we will proceed with the new strategy. Application in spoken form number 7 is in changing social interaction. The first one is politeness strategies, using indirect references to maintain politeness. For example, it's getting late can be an inferred suggestion it's time to leave. The next is indirect request, making requests more polite by implying them. For example, do you have a pen? Is often understood as a request to borrow one. The number 8 is medical and therapeutic context. Doctor-patient communication. Doctor use references and expect patient to infer the meaning based on previous consultation. For example, continue with the same dosage. Assumes the patient remembers the specific medication discussed. Next is therapy session. Therapists use references to help clients connect past discussion with present conversation, facilitating a deeper understanding and continuity in therapy. So, what's the conclusion? The conclusion is in spoken form communication, reference and inference are crucial for achieving clarity, coherence, and efficiency. They allow speakers to rely on shared context and knowledge, enabling listeners to fill in gaps and understand implied meanings. These pragmatic elements enchant various forms of interaction, from casual conversation and storytelling to professional communication and human computer interfaces. Understanding and effectively using references and inference can significantly improve communication, competence, and interaction quality in numerous contexts. So, that's all for me. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Hope you do.